Alright, David Harry here. So, do you have a base version of the M4 MacBook Air, and are you now struggling because you're starting to fill up its internal storage because it only has 256 gigabytes of internal storage, and now you're thinking, I need some external storage? Well, there are going to be a number of options for your external storage. Now, because this particular MacBook has Thunderbolt 4 on it, that means it would be compatible with a USB4 SSD like this one here, or indeed you could use a Thunderbolt 4 SSD like this one here. However, for your particular use, you might be thinking to yourself, well, I don't really need those speeds for the start. Also, I don't need those sizes either, because I've got like a tiny computer and I want to go portable with it, and maybe a drive like this might just be a bit too big for your portable use. And also, these types of drives will be like, you know, sucking the juice out of the battery and stuff out of your M4 MacBook Air as well, so that's going to be something to factor into it all. So now you're thinking to yourself, do you know what, I would rather have an SSD which has got a decent size capacity to it but is also tiny and draws less power than Thunderbolt 4 and USB 4. Well, in that instance, a 10 gigabits per second USB-C SSD may be the one for you. And what I've got here is the 2 terabyte Beetle X31 by SK Hynix, and this is the SSD that I will be testing within this video. Now, just before I go any further, SK Hynix did send me this SSD in exchange for a review, and no money has changed hands. And thank you once again to SK Hynix for supporting my channel. So what I'm going to do here is just quickly go over, like, you know, what comes in the box for this SSD, and then I will get into some speed testing. Okay, so as far as what comes in the box is concerned, the first thing that I would say is that everything is packaged really well inside this main box. So what we've got here are 2 USB cables. One is C to C and one is A to C. Then we've also got the usual instruction type manuals and warranty information. We also have this little bumper case as well, which is really handy to put on the SSD. And then there is the X31 Beetle SSD. And once you've put on this little bumper case onto the SSD, as we can see here, it offers it a load of protection around its sides. Now, it's also slightly raised on the tops and the bottoms here, which will help to a certain degree, helping to protect the top and the bottom of the SSD, especially if it is laid flat down on a table. Okay, so I am onto the desktop for my MacBook Air, and as we can see here, this is the 16 gigabyte M4 version, so basically the base version. Now I'm just going to close that off. Let me just have a quick look at the storage here. I'll just do get info, and as we will see here, it says capacity 245.11 gigabytes. So basically this is the 256 gig version, and as far as the available space is concerned, I've got 200 gigabytes of available space. So the vast majority of the internal storage is actually free to put data onto. So let me just close that off. Now, as far as the external SSD is concerned, there it is there. That is the X31. Now, I've actually formatted mine to APFS. Now, this X31 comes as standard with exFAT as its format. Now, if you intend on using your X31 to share with something like a Windows or a Linux computer, or maybe portable devices that are running Android or Chrome OS, then I would strongly recommend you just leave the X31 as it comes with the exFAT format on it. It's just going to mean that it's easy to share it amongst loads of different operating systems. However, what I'm going to do right now is just to show you how to format the X31 if that is indeed what you want to do and you want to put it to APFS, because maybe your entire use for the X31 is going to be with Mac products. So what we need to do is to open up Disk Utility. So if you know where that is, go ahead and open it up. However, if you don't know, no worries. If we come up here to the magnifying icon there and we'll tap on it, that is going to open up Spotlight Search. So just click into Spotlight Search and start typing Disk Utility. So DISK oh, there we go. It's prompted us here for disk utility. So just go ahead and open that up. Now, before we go any further, I would strongly recommend that if we come up to here where it says view, tap into here and just make sure that it says show all devices, because it's actually going to show us all the devices properly with their full names and their full like disk structures and stuff. Now, it's also worth mentioning here that I strongly suggest that you do not have any other external storage attached to your Mac when you are formatting something. And the reason why is because if you have other things attached, you could accidentally format the wrong disk. So anyway, I've only got the one thing attached here, and as we can see, it says Hynix SSD X31 Media. So I'm just going to tap onto the root of the actual drive. Do not tap on anything like containers or any other names. Tap onto the root there, and then we'll go over to arrays. Now we'll tap onto arrays, and what we need to do here is just to make sure that it says APFS and GUID partition map. It will probably default to that anyway, so you should be good. However, if this were changed to say master boot record, for instance, we will not have APFS as an option to select here. So like I say, just make sure that the scheme says GUID partition map and that format says APFS, and then where it says untitled here, just type in a name that you want to give to your SSD and then tap on arrays. Now of course I'm not going to do that here because I've already got data on mine and it is already formatted to APFS as well, so I'm just going to cancel that and then come out of disk utility. Okay, so what I'm going to do first of all then is to do a synthetic disk speed test, and this is just so that we can clearly see that the internal storage is a lot faster than the external storage and that the external storage cannot be a bottleneck. So what I'm going to do here is go into the Blackmagic Disk Speed app. Now I'm going to just tap onto here, select drive, and it's already on my home folder, so that is now going to test the internal storage, and I'm just going to make sure it's on 5 gigabytes just so it kind of like gives it a bit more of a tougher test. Now I'm going to click on start here. So as far as the write speed is concerned, we're around 2000 megabytes per second, and as far as the read speed is concerned, just under 2800. Let it go through again. It's just dipped under 2000 now, and it's going to be, well, it's actually gone up slightly more on the read. So as we can see here, it's going to be around 2000 for the write and around 2800 for the read. So let me stop that. I'm now going to just change over to the X31. Let me open that and I'll run the same tests. And as we're going to see here, it's going to be a lot slower as we would expect because it's only a USB-C 10 gigabits per second SSD. But nonetheless, we're getting 900 megabytes per second for the write, and we're getting just over 800 for the read. I'll let this go through one more time. Should be there about the same. Yeah, so we're kind of leveling out there at 900 for the write, and again for the read here, that should be around 800 for the read. Okay, so I'm happy to call that 900 and 800. So let me just close that down. Now what I'm going to do is my manual disk speed calculations. So for that, I'm going to move a folder between the X31 and the Mac, and then that will allow us to do some manual bitrate calculations. So what I'm going to do here is to open up Activity Monitor, and this will just allow us to see things in real time as it goes along. Kind of gives us a really good indication of speeds. I will then open up the X31, and then I will open up my stopwatch. Now, the folder that I'm going to use to test here is this one that says David Harry Video Masters. Now, the thing with this folder, it does actually have very useful information in it. So this would be typical of what people might want to move about from Mac to Mac or from, say, SSD to Mac. Now, if I have a quick look at the info here, this is 31,008 megabytes in size. Basically, it's 31 gigabytes, and it has got 34 items in it. Now with this particular size of folder, I've got to be honest, this is really small as far as I'm concerned, because I'm used to using much larger folder sizes when I'm moving things between my SSDs in and out of my Macs. However, because people keep complaining that using massive folder sizes isn't typical of like day-to-day use, for this particular test I just thought I would use 31 gigabytes, because that definitely is a small folder size, and that would definitely be typical of what a lot of people will be moving about as far as Macs with small internal storage sizes are concerned. So like I say, basically 31 gigabytes with 34 items. If I just have a quick look in here, this is basically just a bunch of recent video and thumbnail masters for some of my videos there. Okay, so I'll come back from there. Now the first thing that I'm going to do is to drag that folder to the desktop, and I will time it. Now when I do this, this allows me then to make a manual bitrate calculation after I get the timing for the folder being transferred over. And of course what we're doing here is measuring the read speed of the actual X31, but also the write speed of the Mac. And of course, because this Mac is much faster for its internal storage, the X31 can't be a bottleneck. Anyway, when I drag this folder over, we can keep an eye on, like, you know, a real-time bit rate here, which is going to give us a very good rough guide as to what's going on in real time, and then I will do the manual bitrate calculation afterwards. So let me just do this. So drop start, and as we can see here, this is going to let us know in, like, you know, it's only thereabouts, to be honest, but it's a very good thereabouts as to what's going on at any one time. Now let's see, actually, you know, this is going through fairly quickly here, so I won't speed up through it, and then that will give you the opportunity to see exactly what's going on here as far as the data written is concerned. And then, like I say, when it gets to the end, I'll just pause it, then that will give me the timing to make the calculation for the manual bitrate, and we're almost through there. And don't forget, what's this, like 30 gigabytes, so if you give us a second, there we go. Okay, so I'm going to call that 38 seconds. In fact, I'll round it up to 39 just to be mega safe, so 39. Okay, now what I'm going to do here is to delete the folder from the X31, and then I will empty the trash as well, just to make sure that there are no residual files hanging around which could possibly interfere with some of the testing. And then what I'm going to do is to drag the folder back over to the external storage. And don't forget, what we're going to be doing here is to measure the read speed of the internal storage and consequently the write speed of the external storage. So if you just give me a moment, let me just actually take two on that. I had not reset the stopwatch. Okay, so let me do that again. So drop start. Okay, so once again, what I'm doing here is obviously testing for the write speed of the X31, but the read speed of the internal storage. And once again, I don't think I'll speed up through this, because as we can see, it is going through quite quickly. And as we will see here as well, the average data rate is actually higher, or the average bit rate is actually higher. And the reason why is because the X31 is able to write faster than it can read. So let me get ready to hit pause here. There we go. Okay, I'm going to call that 32 seconds. Give us a moment. So as far as the real world disk speeds are concerned, or the bit rates, the folder size was 31,008 megabytes, and going from the X31 to the M4 MacBook Air, which is obviously reading from the X31 and writing to the M4 MacBook Air, that took 39 seconds. So if we divide 31,008 megabytes by 39, we get 795, which is 795 megabytes per second. And then when we went from the M4 MacBook Air to the X31, which of course is reading from the M4 MacBook Air and writing to the X31, the time taken was 32 seconds. And so if we divide 31,008 by 32, we get 969, which is 969 megabytes per second. Okay, so to an end summary, and I will keep this one quite short, because For anybody who's gotten this far into the video, they will already have seen all that they needed to have known about using a Beetle X31 with their M4 MacBook Air. However, there are a couple of things here that maybe are worth mentioning. I've not done any temperature testing, and the reason why is because even under heavy write loads and stuff, this particular SSD kind of just barely gets warm, so there's absolutely no issue to do with thermals with it and stuff like that. Now, a couple of other things maybe just to overemphasize here, and that is because it is only a 10 gigabits per second USB-C SSD, it definitely draws a lot less power than something like USB4 SSDs or Thunderbolt 4 SSDs, in which case you're going to leave yourself with a little bit more kind of battery left over, as it were, or a bit more power, and like, you know, lengthen how long you can be portable for with your M4 MacBook Air. So whilst this definitely is not going to be the fastest solution for you, it just might be a more practical one, and at 2 terabytes as well, that might actually be like a massive amount of like storage for certain people. But anyway, as we've seen here, you know, the drive itself performs really well actually. And there's another thing to bear in mind here as well. For anybody who might be thinking about getting themselves, say, a 20 gigabits per second USB-C SSD, it is not worth it if you are only going to be using them with the likes of Macs, because Macs only support 10 gigabits per second. So even if you did have a faster 20 gigabits per second USB-C SSD, it will be capped out to 10 gigabits per second anyway. That will probably do it for this video, and hopefully the information that I've given you in this video is going to help you to make an informed purchasing decision. And on that point, there will be links in the video description below to everything used in the video, including this super cute little tiny 2 terabyte USB-C SSD. If you've liked the video, please do give it a thumbs up. A sub to the channel would be absolutely awesome. I'm David Harry. Thank you very much for watching this video. Take care and goodbye now.